play a good amount of games. For the most part, the games are made in different countries. I do enjoy playing games made in different countries, especially when they showcase their home country in the game. It's always nice to be able to look into the culture of others. I don't really find a ton of games that teleport you to another country, especially one that isn't in a fantasy based setting, because you need to do a ton of researching to fully represent a country or area. As someone that has an English degree, I sadly know all about researching areas for world building. You have to research local cuisines, customs, fashion, languages, and many more things. It takes a lot of work to make sure that you make people feel like you are in that country and get to know their culture. Now, you may be wondering why I'm talking about culture and different countries in video games. The main reason is because I played a really cute game that was made and based in Indonesia. I didn't decide to play the game because of the culture or location the game is based in, but because of the aesthetic and story. The story seemed interesting from the short blurb, and what drew me towards it is because it is a music based game. So, the last few games I played on stream, including what I decided to talk about today, all have rhythm mini games included within it. Now, I have to say that I haven't played much rhythm games in my time because it has never drawn me in. The main rhythm game that most people know is Osu, because the only thing you get from the game is overcoming a challenge. I didn't care to play it. I'm still stuck in my ways and won't actively play a game that doesn't have a story. After playing three of these kind of games with story, I enjoyed all three, but there's only one that I would go back to. The main reason I would only go back to one is because there is a lot more replayability with that game compared to the other two games. I will sadly have to say that the game that we're discussing today is not that game. I'll explain later why it isn't that game, but I will hide what the other two games that have written mini games are. Also, before I start my review, I need to give you some news, which can be good or bad depending on how you feel about the game. I decided to go back to Velgard in order to make a review video about it. I was debating on how I wanted to go about playing the game again, but I went with making a new character in order to learn the game once more. I started with Warrior, and it took me a while to get started to make the game run how I wanted it to run, but it is running a lot better than my first playthrough. I also realized that being a warrior in the game is pretty broken because of parrying and also the fact that you can tank a lot of damage. It just feels a lot more broken compared to the other classes in the game, plus because you can interrupt red attacks with your abilities. But the thing is, good or bad, I plan to make a video on the game, so I can finally close the curtain on Velgard. I decided to download the mod, and by doing so, reverted my game back to its old problems. I had load errors, and thankfully I was able to load into a save in the lighthouse. I felt like downloading a mod to make the game semi better would help me, but whatever. Still is better somewhat. I just need something that loads scenes in faster and I'll have a better playthrough. So I was explaining earlier, this game is based in Indonesia and also has rhythm mini games to complement the music aspects that are in the game. The game we are reviewing is called Afterlove EP. It is a game full of tragedy and love. I also want to state that I got the bad ending, and because of how the game advances time, I can be bothered to run through the game again. The story is about a guy who comes back from a year off from everything and everyone. He had to deal with losing his girlfriend, and because of that, he goes into a deep spiral and loses contact with everyone he is close to. The thing is, he is/was part of a band before he lost his girlfriend. Because of this loss, he put the band on the back end with his absence. The game starts a year after the death of his girlfriend. The first thing he decides to do is message his bandmates to try to get the band back together. Now, I don't really know how I would feel if a friend took a break from everything after a loss because loss affects everyone differently. The big problem you have to look at is the fact that the main character is a part of a band and decides to lose contact with them. I don't like this because you're basically holding everyone else's dreams hostage while you deal with your loss. Like I said earlier, everyone takes loss differently, but you should at least try to talk to people closest to you so that they know what is going on. So, to give you more information about the band, they're not just random people, but are your best friends. As a friend, I will give you a bit of time to yourself and try to talk to you about everything because I want to help you. Another thing is that a lot of friends will be friendly, / kind to a friend's significant other to make them feel welcome. Remember that this is a group of friends that form the band, so if any one of the bandmates decide to date anyone, then that person would be around the band if the romance was serious enough. That means if the person that was always around the band, cheering them on, just died, that means that the band lost a friend and a fan at the same time. Now, with this knowledge, let's start the review. The game follows the calendar system, so that means you go day to day, deciding on what to do. You have a full month before the game ends, which means that you have to decide what to do every day. This game works on a day and night cycle, which means that you can spread out your time to hang out or do things that help you out with your drama. For the most part, the story revolves around your decisions, how you decide what to do with your month back into society. The whole game can be summed up into going back out there, making more connections because you cut off your old ones. You don't actually cut off your old connections, but with your actions, you pretty much have. Also, you can find new love if that is truly what you want to do, but that is up to you. So, most of the options in this game are to meet up with people, go to band practice, and also go to therapy. Everything you do is optional, so if you want to ghost someone for the remainder of the game, you can. I don't really know if you can just stay at home and become a social recluse again, because why would I do that and not try to better my character? Therapy is also a nice touch because it forces your character to see the flaws in his logic. A lot of the game, the MC feels like he was the only one that dealt with loss, and has to realize that he isn't the only one in pain. I love the idea about the therapist, but it feels like it falls short because of the fact that once you do your band meeting, you kind of forget your growth. Also, this is like an old school visual novel where you don't really know what dialogue option is the right one. So you kind of have to guess or choose the one you feel is the best. I kind of wish I knew which selection was the best because I have bad luck when it comes to selecting the right line. I always select the dialogue lines that I feel fit my character or that I feel is the best one for the situation. And 9 times out of 10, I'm wrong. I feel like the story kind of goes in weird ways. Because a lot of things fall flat, since you don't really know the best way to allocate your time, nothing is really explained. You have a few forced events, which is band practices and meeting with your bandmates, but otherwise you have free reign throughout the game. I was romancing someone, and I was told to go to a specific place, but besides the area, there was no signs where to go. I would search and wouldn't find this place, so I had to give up a few days in game to other things. I finally found it in a place that made no sense for it to be, but was happy I could finally continue the character story. I do like the character stories you learn throughout the game, but I feel like there's enough time to get to know them all. I guess this is the game's way of telling you to replay the game to learn more about them. I don't really like the lingering voice you have to deal with in the game that is basically a devil on your shoulder. I'm not going to spoil what the voice is, even though it doesn't really do anything if you do know what the voice is, but you can easily guess what that voice is. When it comes to gameplay, the game itself is very simple. You talk to people, play music, and decide how your day is going to go. Now, you may think that this sounds like a very passive game, which, truthfully, for the most part, it is. You do this rhythm based minigames to beat of the song. So, when you hear all of the song, then hit your actions. There's someone that writes music, so you have to test it out before your band hears it, which is why we have these minigames. It isn't the most intuitive minigame, because you have this somewhat clunky minigame to play. It feels too fast paced. You don't get enough time to really react to the notes coming at you. Could just relate to me being bad. Also, you can't restart a song when you feel like you have done bad to learn the controls. You can learn songs in your room, so you're better prepped for them, or I just learn it when the song comes up in the story. I guess that you can just relate not being able to restart when you do bad to real life, because you aren't able to redo a situation when the going gets tough. The thing is that this is a game. I can just reload a save and I really feel like a situation is going really bad. Then again, I'd be too lazy to set whole save files just to do better in a song because that is just too much work. I was able to get better, but definitely was a different way to play the game. The reason it was different was because I am not used to using my actual arrow keys in games. I usually just use WAS. I don't even know the last time I actually used my arrow keys. I don't even know what games would want you to use the arrow keys over WAS because of hand placements. I guess it makes sense to use arrow keys if you use a left-handed mouse, but besides that, I don't understand the reason to use it. I had a few things about Indonesia, which was culture, but also about how people are treated if they're gay. People could be beaten up. Even if you call the cops on your assailants, they probably wouldn't help you out. Just like where I live, it's better to find your own safe place with people you like than trust that people will understand what you're going through. It was nice. Well, not really nice, but interesting to see that they are relatable to struggles you can go through in America. Again, it is shit that they have to go through this, and don't even have the option to search for help outside of the community. It is nice to see that the game highlights the struggles of this community, but that is only something you see if you spend time with a certain character. The characters, for the most part, are well written. Besides the nagging voice and main characters at times, I enjoyed the characters in this game. So overall, I like the game, but would like to know how I got the bad ending because it kind of just happened. I have no idea what led to it, but I just did the things I felt I needed to tackle. If you try to focus on all your friendships and kind of stop talking to someone, then said person acts like you ghosted them. Also, most games with dating sim aspects have a certain bar that you have to fill or level to get to, and once you are done, you can focus on other things. If you look at Persona 5 and the confidant system, try to max out the levels as fast as possible to get to the other characters and access more of the game. You also know when you are done with the confidants. Unlike this game, when you don't know when you are done. I don't know if you're supposed to just focus on one person and not make friends with the other characters. Like I said, nothing is told to you at all, so you kind of have to guess and experiment. As much as I want to love the rhythm-based minigames, it's just a lot to take in, especially when it comes to trying to enjoy the music in the game. I wanted to look at the lyrics, but because I had to pay attention to what direction to input, I couldn't read the captions to get what was being said. I also wasn't able to get into the music because I had to hard focus in order to do well in the minigames. I feel like I missed out on a really good part of the game. I really wish I knew why I got a bad ending, because I would have tried to go back and get a good ending. But I don't want to do multiple playthroughs to experiment. So, in conclusion, I feel like this game has promise, but without any direction, you're kind of as lost as the MC as it goes throughout life. You try to do good, but because of an in-game mechanic, all your progress is reverted at every turn. I just wish that the character growth was able to stick, but then again, you are dealing with someone that hasn't dealt with human contact for a year. The funny thing is, it would take someone a lot longer to make progress, to also open back up to people. You're only given a month to get your shit together. And if you don't, then everything falls apart. For my ending, I was able to make things right with his friends, but he still had his emotional baggage with him. I didn't know how to make him recover from it, even though I went to every therapy session you were able to go to. I may have just missed stuff, but again, without direction, it is easy to miss a lot. I like the game, but the other two games made me realize that they are levels to the rhythm game genre. Then again, it's dumb to say that, but I like the other games a lot more. The funny thing is that this game has an Easter egg from the next game, which I didn't know about since I didn't know what to look for, also because I hadn't gotten to the game yet. You're also dealing with a band in the next game, but with different problems, and in the fantasy setting. Then again, that game could be non-fiction, but we still don't have all the facts during that era. Anyway, my name is Only the Incubus, out of my time. Hope you all have a great day and an amazing week. Later days. I love you all. Bye. Saying kisses and love consensually. I love you all. I am tired. Love you all. Peace. Bye. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye. Love you. Peace.
Hello and welcome to OS. Let's learn how to play.
Okay.
So, OS is a game about circles. When the approach circle touches the edge of the inner circle, that's your cue to click it. You can then earn more score by accurately syncing your clicks to the music. Give these circles a try. Sliders build on circle mechanics. Click on the start position just like a circle, then keep holding the mouse button as you follow this ball at a predetermined speed along the track. If a slider then has a reverse arrow, you'll need to follow the ball backwards too.
The fuck?
So try some of these yourself. The spinner is the simplest object type. Just hold your mouse button and spin your cursor around the center of the screen as fast as you can. Now you try. And that covers the basics of OS gameplay. To see if you've really got the hang of this, try playing the song to its end and pay attention to your accuracy. If you see anything below 300 here, that means you're clicking beats too early or too late. Also, you can click with the X and Z keys on your keyboard. Good luck and have fun playing OS.
That was fucking different than what I expected at all. What the fuck did I just play?